As they say on Game of Thrones, winter is coming. And in fact, this weekend we're setting the clocks back. That means I'm going to be losing an extra hour of light. And quite frankly, I hate it. If you're over 60 like me, you know that winters aren't exactly like they were when we were kids. They were snowy, they were bright, they were fun. Here in New Jersey, I get to look forward to 4 or 5 months of gray, meh, and this interesting thing called a wintry mix. I'm not really sure what happened to snow and sleet, but now they just sort of bundle it all up and call it wintry mix. And I have seasonal affective disorder, SAD, that really kicks in during this time of year. And the winters used to be something I just had to suck up and endure. But I have been practicing some lessons from the greatest winter queen of all time, and that is the Momma Bear. That big brown bear, that big black bear. I'm sure polar bears too, but they're a little foreign for me. They have perfected the art of how to thrive in the winter. I want to share a couple of lessons that I have learned from them that I'm bringing into my own life. And I have to tell you, the last one is my favorite because it's just fun. So hang out with me. And hello there, I'm Kelly. I am the founder of Brain Flower, a place I established here for us over a certain age to talk about these wacky curveballs that life throws at us as we get older, and to discuss some coping strategies for the changes that we experience. And quite frankly, for me, winter requires a lot of coping. So the first lesson I have learned from Momma Bear herself is winter gives you time to gather your strength. It gives you time to gather your strength and plan for future projects. So how have I translated that for myself? Well, every winter now, I identify a project or an undertaking. That sounds heavy, and I don't mean it to be a heavy one, that I focus on for the next couple of months, believing that I will have a happy outcome at the end of it. So for the last couple of years, I've been trying to learn how to garden. I am a very, very beginner gardener, and there's still a lot of flowers and plants whose names I don't even know. These are the last of my dahlias that you see back here on my shelf in my office. But I found out that I really get so much out of it. Going outside and cutting some flowers, bringing in some tomatoes and herbs just really lights me up. So during the winter now, I start thinking about my garden. I start thinking about, what it could possibly look like, what flowers I want to buy. And in March, I and a friend actually start some of these plants and flowers from seed. So then once I make it to March and I can start gardening in my basement, I know that I'm making progress getting through the winter. And it is a goal and an end focus that lets me do that. And I don't really have time any other time of year to focus so deeply on a project. And Mother Bear has taught me that. Use your strength during the winter so that you can accomplish something when it's over. The second lesson that I've learned from bears overwintering is that rest can be a power move. It's not just an excuse to slug out, stay on the sofa for the next couple of months. I was an adult when I found out that bears, when they hibernate, just don't sleep. I thought they just took a 4 or 5 month nap. What they actually do is really slow down their whole body, slow down their metabolism. And we love the slow down aspect of winter. Who doesn't like to be cozy? Who doesn't like, a warm, shapeless sweater? Who doesn't want to feel comfortable? But if you have seasonal affective disorder, that could be such a trap for us. So I have translated that learning that rest can be a power move and have brought it into my life. I work hard now at figuring out what's really recharging me and integrating that into my daily routine. If you don't find things you enjoy, you're never going to do this. And it's going to seem hard and it's going to seem like a job. And what I'm recommending is something totally different. I'm recommending finding some fun things that light you up and bringing them into every day during this resting period. So I like going to the gym. I go to the gym a couple of times a week, but during this time of year, I add in a couple of extra things. One, I love taking a walk, and when it's brisk out, it's fun to take a walk, but I know me, and me walking around outside in the dark is a recipe for disaster. I'm sure to trip over something. So I have discovered YouTube walking videos and YouTube dance videos. And I do that in my own living room by myself once or twice a week in the morning. And it just sends this whole extra jolt of energy into my body. And it is not hard and it is not fancy and it costs me absolutely nothing. The other little extra recharge I like doing is I like to take advantage of the seasonal fruits. Sometimes winter can be tough and it could just seem like a load of apples and pears, but oranges and other citrus fruits come into season during the cool months, and they're just so much more juicy and delicious now than they are at any time of the year. Vitamin C is a great healer, so I try and sneak in an orange or add some extra lemon to the food that I'm eating. That wakes it up with a little extra zing and gives me that little boost too. So I know we don't really think of rest that way, but if you can bring in these little zaps of energy into your life in an easy way, it makes a really, really big difference, and it makes it bearable to get through winter. Truthfully, I used to eat so much pasta that my younger brother called me a pastatarian. And my winters were just an endless march of these rich, beige, carbohydrate-ridden foods. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I still love them every once in a while. But by integrating these fresher foods, like oranges and other cold season foods, and just moving my butt a little bit more, not a lot more, but just a little bit more, can make a really big difference for me in terms of my happiness and serotonin levels during the winter. Another lesson I've learned from bears is that a routine really matters, but make it an easy routine. Just as bears have, a routine while they're hibernating, some even give birth while they're hibernating. Now that is not on my bingo card at all, but it does reinforce the idea that there's a cycle that they're following. So I try and bring in this idea of a routine or a cycle into my everyday. Again, I am not talking about anything complicated. Anything that's too highly structured doesn't, one, fit my personality, and I would never keep it up. So just a couple of little things. I mentioned that I like to go to the gym in the morning or just to move. And if I can't do that, and if I don't have time to, exercise at all, I try and do some quick stretches, even in the shower. But at the end of the day, when I want to separate my working time from my personal time, I will often light a candle or light some incense. Yes, I am a child of the 60s. I am still lighting incense and candles. But those really signal to me, hey, your day is progressing, you're moving on. It's a nice little touch, and I love it. The other thing I do almost every night when the weather is halfway decent is I go outside and I look at the night sky. The winter sky is so bright, the air is so clean, and I live pretty close to the beach, and our air is particularly clean most of the time. And the stars are amazing. Even here in New Jersey, the stars are amazing. You could see planets, you could see satellites, and I get this insane amount of comfort by looking up and seeing the moon and seeing a little sliver of the universe. It makes me feel like I have a place in the world, and that is a little routine, that's a little power move that I build into my everyday structure that works for me. The next lesson is to seek out light. Bears have a knack for finding the perfect den that works for them. And I think we all imagine them like crawling into caves, but evidently that's not true. Sometimes they sleep near or in trees or under a pile of leaves or foliage that they find. Wherever they land up, that is right for them. And I'm telling you, what is right for us is to have some extra light in our lives during this time of year. We have to bring that into our winter den. For years, I did not put up a Christmas tree. And then a couple of years ago, I did. And I am surprised by what a difference it made in my mood. And it wasn't just about the holiday, honestly. It was about coming home and plugging in all those twinkly lights. And when I took my Christmas tree down, because I use a live Christmas tree so it doesn't stay up for longer than a few weeks, I kept some of those twinkly string lights in different places in my house. And it just made me happy. And they're cheerful. You know, for all of us on a day-to-day basis, scientists say that exposure to natural light as soon as you wake up in the morning, as soon as, humanly possible when we wake up in the morning, is really key to regulating our happy hormones. So not all of us have the opportunity to step outside. I'm very grateful that I can. Sometimes I even make it up to the beach for sunrise. I wait in my car because it's very, very cold until it gets close to sunrise, but I do get out there and watch it. But if you can even get to a window, if you can even feel some of that light coming in on your face, it will make an uptick in your happiness level, I promise you. My final tip is my favorite because it's so self-indulgent, and it is to treat yourself to some extra self-care, some great self-care. Now, when bears hibernate, they're doing that naturally. That whole hibernation cycle is all about self-care. I usually pick a Friday night when I'm home alone and I just go for it. I just go for the whole thing. I'm talking candles in the bathroom, something to drink, a nice warm hot bath. I'm a bubble bath lover, so there's plenty of that. And all the creams, all the lotions, everything. I probably do some kind of facial treatment. That's fun for me. And then I put on something warm and soft and just relax. I try and do that a couple of times a month when I have the time to spend on myself. I know not everyone has that time, and I appreciate that. If you are feeling flush, every now and then I like to run out for a massage. I usually save up my coins to do that in the winter. Even a pedicure that just feels so luxurious when you go and you get a pedicure. Adding these extra steps of self-care really make you feel like you've taken a break and you have carved out a little time for yourself. Not quite months and months of hibernation, but definitely a little indulgence. If you could pair that with a nice meal, that's even better. An easy way to get into this self-care mode, and this may sound weird, is that I started taking showers in the evening and blowing out my hair and everything for work the next day at night. By taking a warm shower, I first of all wash the day off me, which I love that feeling. But you're also making your muscles relax, you're hydrating your skin, and you are really sending a signal to your brain that says it's chill time. So by the time I get into bed, I am feeling a lot more relaxed, usually have a better night's sleep, and knowing that I don't have to rush that extra 20 minutes in the morning is such a blessing when you wake up in the morning. So you get the benefit on both ends, like at night when you're really relaxing with a nice bathing routine, and in the morning when you have those extra couple of minutes to yourself. It is definitely self-care. Bears are the queens of self-care, and this is just my little way and my little recommendation for how we can incorporate that into our lives. Now I'm going to throw in an unexpected bonus tip. And to be fair, I really don't see how Mama Bear does this unless she finds herself a particularly warm place to hibernate in. But a couple of years ago, when we had a very cold, nasty winter, I bought a heated mattress pad. I just bought it on Amazon. It wasn't super expensive. And I put it on while I'm taking my hot shower, and it warms up my bed, and I go in there and I read for a couple of minutes, and it is freaking luxurious as hell. Now, like a lot of people I know, I cannot sleep in a warm bed. And in fact, I have to sleep with the window open. I don't care what time of year it is. But just those few minutes of getting into that bed and relaxing in that warm, cozy nest, man, that is worth it. And so, yes, very indulgent, maybe, but the way your muscles and joints feel a few minutes laying on a warm mattress is just something I'm not going to trade in now as I get older. I hope you're enjoying this. I really do. It's meant for us to just share some thoughts on, the best ways to live our lives now. I have a couple other videos here you might want to check out. And, YouTube favors its small channels, but we're so new. It would be great if you could like or comment or even subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. In the meantime, think positively. Go pick yourself some brain flowers.